Hello and welcome back. In this exercise, we will learn how to use Power Query to extract data from different sources. We'll choose the storage mode as well as the connectivity type. And we will also learn to clean and load data into Power BI before the model of your data gets published. So let's get started. I'll just open up Power BI. All right, so let's get started with that. And what we can see is we will see how different data sources we can connect. There are some common data sources which are commonly used to connect data. Topmost is the Excel workbook. More common things is this text and CSV as well as SQL Server. And we can also use blank query by entering data together and then connecting it with the different other data sources. There are some native Power BI connectors or data sets as well that we can connect, like Power BI dataset, data flow, as well as the Dataverse, which can be used to connect and update with the Power apps as well as other Power platform applications. So first thing, we'll get the data from SQL Server, and we can add, this when click on this one, it opens up the SQL Server dialog box, and where you can enter the server details, database, as well as if you want to write a SQL statement, it can be written as well. The other aspect is the import versus direct query. So direct query just fetches data every time you load, but import mode stores it in the native engine of Power BI. So currently we can enter localhost and yeah, so the local host means that the SQL server is installed in the local machine, and you're connecting sample database, for example, or any other database in the server. But it is not recommended that you will use SQL and Power BI on the same machine. So there must be a in a professional environment there should be a dedicated SQL server machine or Azure SQL Server Cloud, which stores all the database things. And we just click on OK. And this is the temporary AdventureWorks database. And this will open up the a dialog box with all the connectivity. So what we'll do is we'll connect to AdventureWorks DW T20, and from that let's fetch employee data. So if you just check, there is one query dem employee, and let's get dem sales territory for each employee. And in order to sell, we need to have products as well as resellers, as well as the details about the sales territory, and most importantly, the fact table related to sales. So this, while selecting a particular table, gives a preview of the columns and the data itself, for how many, what's the structure of this data is, and then what's the detail about it. So yeah, so there are two aspects to it. Once you select the appropriate tables, either you can directly load the data or transform data. So since we are preparing data for cleansing, data cleansing and all the stuff, then what we'll do is we'll click on transform data, and this will pop up the Power Query editor, And this Power Query editor has multiple features of cleansing the data, loading the data together, and merging multiple data sources together. So yeah, it has all the menus related to transformation of the data. You can just group by, extract, split columns, and format the columns, as well as update the data type, count the records, and all the stuff. You can also add calculated columns, conditional columns, as well as duplication of the columns, as well as you can use different functions as well in that. And there are some machine learning and AI tools which are available as well for the updates. Yeah, so what we'll do is, once this opens up, we click on the employee table, and this will give us an overview of how many, um, what is the structure of this table. As you can see, this is employee key, as well as the first name and last name, along with the birth date, hire date, as well as the login ID, email address, and contact details associated with that. So what we'll do is um, we just need to check how many, a kind of a sanity check, that how many records are there and stuff like this. So this is 33 columns and 296 rows of that. There are two options given here: column profiling based on top 1000 records, or column profiling based on entire data set. So if you are using a smaller data set, I recommend you to use this entire data set, so that we can completely view all the stuff. There are some column profiling and column detailing distribution comes in. So if you can click on this column distribution, it will give an overview of how many distinct values are there and how many unique values are there. Column profile, clicking on column profile will give, while selecting a particular column, it gives a value distribution, as well as the count, as well as the average, standard deviation, or any other stuff as well. So as you can see, it keeps on changing, and it gives more information based on the details about it. So these are the operations which we can perform using the Power Query editor. As you can see that this is the first names distribution that have been given from all 296 records, and there are some details that are given too in that. So yeah, so there's one more thing that we can do. We can click on column quality, and in that column quality, it will give us whether it has 100% valid records, it fulfills the requirement of the column type, as well as how many empty records are there. So for example, this is saying that one record is empty, and and in this multiple things, we can see that there are some null records, there are some empty records given there as well. So what we can do is um, we can start to perform some activity, and in order to do that, we'll just go to the uh, the position column. So if you can see the position column, we'll just click on go and then search position. This will take us to the product position column. It has 94% of the fields are empty. So if you just click on this one, it says these are the three positions or designations which are there for the employees, for the for the employees. So it gives us information related to the quality, as well as the null value and everything related to that as well. And let's explore another thing, employee sales territory. Employee sales territory gives for each employee and the sales territory region associated with that particular employee. It means that a single employee can have multiple regions, and it can he can manage, she can manage multiple operations associated with that as well. We also, let's go to the product table, and it has product information associated with that. It's that, how many, the product name, as well as, all the details associated with that particular product. So if you can scroll back to the last column, it says all the tables are connected, and there is a column called product subcategory. If you just click on the value of that column, it means that anything associated with the subcategory is joined in that particular column. So if you move towards transformation, and if you do some transformations, then you can easily identify which tables are connected, which are the list of items that are connected with a particular record. Let's move to the next one. It's the reseller. Reseller contains one row per reseller. Resellers are the ones who distributes and sells, and value add to the company, say. So we are just checking the column profiling, and in that column profiling we are checking that the reseller key is unique. Other than that, the geographic key, as well as phone number, business type, reseller name, and the number of employees, and everything is being updated as well in that. And if you scroll to see that where is the if you click on this business type, it gives us value distribution. And if you can notice that the value distribution for the business type is written as warehouse as well as space house, which means that there are some discrepancy in that this particular category or the business type associated with that. So we'll apply to the transformations to relabel these records. So how many records are there? We should just click on this one. This will give us the details about it. So if you click on this one, and it will show up there are 5 records associated with this typo or not category, you would say. Moving towards the next one, it's the sales territory. Sales territory gives us the information about the region and the employees, and all the stuff associated with those particular categories. So yeah, sales category. Then move on to the fact table, which is the retail sales, and it also gives us all the information. Total product cost of this one gives us there are some null values associated with that, which means that we need to either fulfill those records, or we need to look into that. So 8% of the values are shown as empty, which is equal to the 76 records associated with that. So we will apply some transformations in filling up the values from there. So second part of the data preparation, we'll just fetch in the CSV file from the source. So this will give the overview of the reseller sales target, which means that these are the resellers. And so we'll go and open up the CSV file for the reseller sales target from the resource folders, and it is showing reseller sales target.csv. We just click on open, and this CSV file will also open up the employee ID and sales target based on every month. And so we just click on OK. In the query pane, it will add the sales target associated with the CSV file. if you just scroll and just overview, get overview of the each column distribution, and we can see that there is no particular column which contains empty values, because when there isn't a monthly sales target, a hyphen character is stored in that. So which means that it's, see the hyphen character, this is not empty, this is a hyphen character, and if you can see that due to that, the text type, the data type is shown as text, and we cannot convert this to the number tab. These icons to the next to the columns represents the data type, and we can change the data type accordingly. Once the data query is loaded, it is changed by default, but some of the column we can do some transformation and then change the columns data type to the different format. There's one more CSV file that we will be importing, which is called the color format. And this color format gives us the color of the product based on the type. Each record contains the hexagon hex code to format the background and font colors as well. So now you will have you will have two queries, new queries related to CSV files, and you can see it from the source itself that it's coming from the CSV file, and for this one it is coming from the SQL Server database. So what we'll do is we'll now save this file, and because since we have not applied any transformations, it will ask us for to apply the transformation steps, but we'll click on apply later for this step. This is part 2 of the training, where we will cover the loading of the data with Power Query, as well as do some analysis and do some transformation in that. So let's get started. We will open up the previous file, Power BI file, and where we left off in part 1. So as soon as it will open up, we'll start applying some transformations in the query. So as you can see, we have opened up this Power BI file. There's nothing loaded here, which means that the data is still in Power Query mode, and there is a notification there that says there are pending changes in the query that you haven't been applied. So this means that we need to open up the Power Query by clicking on the transform data, and it will open up Power Query editor, where all the tables that we've loaded in the last sections we have are there. To start off with the employee query, what we will do is we'll click on the employee, which is selected now, so in this one, and then to rename, what we will do is there is a query setting that gives us property and the name. So what we will do is we will just rename it to salesperson. So this means, we are changing these names. These are technical names, like it's coming from the database, of course, with dimension and fact. But if we want to create a report for self-service, and if you want to create a report for people who are who needs to create a report from the existing data set, then we need to have user-friendly names, and that's the reason why we are changing all the uh, probably all the names related to, so that they can have a verification of how people are, uh, they will have a kind of a thing that understands what the table name is, and then what the data under that table will be. Now the sales table contains 33 columns, and it is moving from one left to right, and you'll be there are some columns which you want to see, and you are unable to find those columns. There's a shortcut method of going to this going to this go to choose column dialog box, click on that one, and then go to column, and in that one, for example, if you want to see um, there's a complete list of it, and we can sort this column as well in the natural order, or by name, or you can search by sales, for example, salesperson flag. This salesperson flag, it will take you to that particular column. And then what we will do is we will select this drop down. It is giving us a complete list of values in that particular column. Since the number of records are less, that's why there are clear values that are given. Otherwise, it if there are multiple values, then it will give a notification that we need to search by there might be a chance that there will be more values existing. So since we are looking for salespersons, we just click on true as a flag, and this will give us all the sales related people in that. If you see in the right section, the right side, there's a section called applied steps, and whatever you do, it is updating the adding a new step to that application. So for example, if you want to see all married salesperson, it is applied here as a salesperson's, and it is added in the in the filter row section. So if you want to clear that filter, this will only have salesperson with that. If we want to, for example, remove columns, let's say we remove the marital status column, there is an additional step, or there is an additional line item that is added here, and you can always revert or go back to the previous step by just clicking on this one, or you can just delete the previous steps that you've done. Please note that this is an irreversible process. Once you delete anything, you have to go back and to perform the operations once again. There's no undo for this deleting the applied steps. Okay, so now what we'll do is we'll just filter out, or we'll just choose some specific columns, and we will not keep all the columns that are there. So because there are some columns that are associated with other tables and views and lists as well, and we might not use it in our analysis. So what we can do is we can just go back to this arrow and click on choose column, and this will give us the list of columns with selected. So by default everything is selected by default. But what we'll do is we'll just click on some limited. We'll just select some important columns, like for example employee key, employee national ID or alternate key, of course first name, last name, as well as the title and the email address. And I think other than that, these are some different columns which we'll not be using, because okay. And remember, if you notice that this is an additional step that has been added, like remove other columns. So remove other columns means that we are keeping these columns and removing all other columns. So we will have a step that is there. We can always modify that step. So for example, if we click on this one in the gear icon, it will open up the existing filter that we applied, and we can make changes to that. Similar ones we can do in the filter rows as well. So it's showing that filter rows equal true. We can select any other value which is present to update. Okay, so now what we've done is we have filtered out these columns, or we've selected such columns. Now what we can do is we have to create a we have to merge these first name and last name and create a name column, which means that there's only one name um, for each employee. Okay, so in order to merge those columns, there are multiple things that we can do. Um, First, we have to select those columns. So multiple column selection can be done by holding Control key and then selecting the column names. Um, the easiest way is to right click on any of the column, and there is an option for merge column, and this will open up as a dialog box which says choose how to merge the selected columns, and then we can give a space in between and give a name. um, uh, so this is salesperson. If you can just click on OK, these two will be merged as salesperson. So see what has happened behind the scene is that the first name and the last name is removed, and then sorry, it is combined to a salesperson, and then it is removed. So this removed and renamed this one column to salesperson. Okay, so moving on, what we will do is we will so this employee key is there, email address is there, salesperson title is there. Okay, so what we can do is we can rename this employee national ID alternate key, and give it a simple name. So let's say employee ID. So we'll just double click this column and it will be in an edit mode. So once you give so let's give this employee ID and then press enter, so it will have a shorter and sweet name. Once this is all done, remember that you can see this has 5 columns and 18 rows records, and that is all we want. So this table is done. Now we will move to the next table, which is the dim employee sales territory. And this sales territory table, we will just do some manipulations in that one as well. So this is employee key. As you remember, this employee key should match up with these, and sales territory, and all the details can be done and can be seen here as well. So let's get started. First, what we'll do is we'll just rename this dim employee sales territory to salesperson region. Okay, so after the rename, what we will do is we will just remove the last 2 columns which we don't require. Uh, so what we can do is we can just right click and remove, and then again right click and remove. Remember, if you perform similar operations, it is just recorded under one applied step. And if you see the code here, it is merging those operations into one. So for example, if I remove this dim sales category, so we will have that column back. But if we'll remove this, I mean, if we apply this step again, then this shows as a merged removed columns, like the same applied step. All right, so now we have employee key and sales territory key. Okay, now this is done. We'll move to the product query. This contains product information. First thing is that we will rename this dim product to product, and then uh, what we can see is this product information contains 40 columns and 606 rows. So we can see that there are 606 product types and 40 columns. Of course, there will be some additional columns which we will not require. So what we'll do is we'll filter those columns, and one thing to observe here is that these products are some of the products are intermediate, some of the products are in different stages. So what we will locate is we will go to the finished good flag, and there is a finished good flag where we can see. So this flag gives us filtered products which are only finished. So sales occurs only on the finished product. So this is a good flag to switch off all the intermediate products. So just click, we will just filter it out with by selecting true, and this will give us all the products which are finished. So if you can see, now the records are 397, and yeah, with all the product information. So now what we'll do is we'll filter out any extra information, because we're doing sales analysis. So we will filter out any extra information which might not be used in the sales analysis. After filtering out the finished good flag, what we will do is we'll just remove all other columns, and we'll just keep some important columns which means which are product key, the product name, and standard cost, the color, and another thing which is called product subcategory. And if you can see, we have filtered out everything, we've removed every other thing, and we've just kept these basic columns. So these are the columns, if you can see, with the data types, and this is number data type, this is text, this is currency, this is another text. But observe this column. This column has some multiple values, or this is a kind of a list that we are looking forward. So we need to expand that list. So if you can see, if you click on one of the value or record, it says it is a complete list, or it's a kind of a more detailed about that particular product. So which means that there's a table within that within the table. So what we can do is we can click on expand button, and this will open up the columns present in that table. In that columns, in this information, we can have all the columns present in the table. Plus, there is a checkbox which says use original column name as prefix, which means that once we click on OK, it will have the name like in a format like dim product subcategory dot product subcategory key. So we will be able to identify which one is. So for example, we have some same names associated with similar to the original table. Then we can always distinguish in between the original column names versus the subcategory or expanded column names. What we'll do is we'll just select the subcategory name, English product subcategory name, as well as the dim product category, and we will uncheck this use original column name as well, and then click on OK. And if you can see, it has been expanded as two columns, and the dim product category has a table values itself. If you can see this transformation applied step, it says expand dim product subcategory. So it is still opening up the subcategory table, and if you want to add or remove any other column, we can do that as well. And once we click on editing that, if you see that default column name prefix optional, now this thing gives a text box, which means that we can put up our own information or our own prefix associated with the column names. After doing that, what we'll do is we'll just expand this dim product category as well, and just remember that the query column names should remain unique. Okay, so after expanding the product subcategory, uh, there is another table which is there, which is called product category. And then, if we expand that, what we can see is, some more columns associated with the that particular table. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll just click on English product category name and click OK. So now it will give us the English product category name as well as, product subcategory name. We will just rename some columns. So English product name to product, and at cost we'll just give a space, and subcategory English product subcategory name to subcategory, and English product category name to category. So now we have 6 columns and 397 records with subcategory, product details, and category information. This will help us analyze better in sales perspective. The following, you'll just choose the column, click on select the reseller, business type, reseller name, and the dim geography. So these are the four columns that we have. We will expand this dim geography column with only the following 3 columns, which are city, province name, as well as the English country region name. And this will give us all the information related to the resellers. If you remember in the first video that we have a different values for warehouse, we will now fix those values. Just click on, when you click on business type, it says there are 2 values associated with warehouse and where space house, you would say. So what we will do is we'll just right click on this one and then replace values. So what we will do is we will warehouse and then replace it with the correct one and click on OK. So what will happen here is that we'll remove the extra value associated with that. So now what we'll do is now we'll have a limited and fixed cleaned business type there. So yeah, bit of final test checking. What we'll do is we'll just give space to business type, reseller name to just reseller, state province name to state/province, and English country name to country/region. And that's it. This is done for reseller. Remember to see that it has 6 columns and 701 rows. Okay, so now we'll move to the sales territory, and this is basically a region. So what we'll do is we'll rename this to region. Yeah, so if you see that there are 11 records, and the region and sales country is there. There is one alternate key which is 0. It's called corporate headquarter, and we'll just remove this called corporate headquarter by just selecting this alternate key and this unselect 0. So this will happen. This will just gives us the selling region there. Again, out of the 10 columns, we'll remove the columns that we don't require, like what we require is sales key, region, country, and group. There you go. We'll just do some renaming as well in this one. So sales territory region to region, sales territory country to country, and the group as well. After completing regions, we'll move to the fact reseller sales, and we'll quickly rename this table to sales. So we'll just delete this as a fact. And since it has 21 columns, we will just select the columns first, and then we can see what needs to be done. So we'll keep sales order number, order date, product key, a reseller key, employee key, sales territory key, order quantity, unit price, total product cost, sales amount, and dim product. As per our previous examples, what we can see is that there's some total product cost missing in the values, like this is showing as null values, and if you can just hover it, it says 76 records are empty. So we need to fix those, because in order to calculate profit and loss, we need to have product cost and the sales cost as well, sales as well. Okay, so what we'll do is we'll just expand this dim product, and we'll just go for the standard cost. This is standard cost, and we will apply this thing. So this dim product will have the standard cost column, and we'll retrieve the cost from we have retrieved this column from the dim product table, and now we will apply, or we will create a new column that will say that whenever these values are not present. So for example, whenever this total product cost is null, we'll fetch these values from standard cost column. In order to do that, what we'll do is we'll go to the add column tab and click on custom column. In that custom column, it opens up a dialog box that will have the column name, formulas, and the available columns in the query. What we'll do is we'll just rename this as rename this column. What we'll do is we'll just rename this column to cost, and then we will apply some custom formula, which means that we will select an if statement, and if and that will go like if the total product cost is null, then order quantity into standard cost you should multiply, otherwise we'll just stick to the total product cost. So now we will do is we'll just write if, and the total product cost equals null, then order quantity into standard cost, else total product cost. Okay, so now this column has been added, and it has full valid records. So now it's just showing 1000 records. We can just click on profiling based on entire data set, and it will load and it will show up all the records. So the total records are 57,851 and no empty records. And now what we'll do is we'll just remove these two columns, hold control and click on those two columns, and then just right click to remove the columns. So now we'll have now we have a complete cost associated with that. We'll just rename some of the columns like unit price, unit space price, order quantity to quantity, sales amount to sales. If you see, the quantity column has a data type called decimal. So this means that the quantity can be a whole number. It will be a whole number, not existing in the decimal column. So we'll just convert this decimal number to the whole number, and this will fix the column. So after changing the quantity data type, we'll just change this cost data type to same as decimal number, and this will give us a complete configuration and updation of the sales table. It contains 10 columns and 999, which means that 1000 plus records. Configure, now move to the target query, and then last thing is the color format. We'll just fix those queries, and then we'll save this file. So first you just need to rename. This means that it is showing as targets. Now what we'll do is we'll just do some unpivoting. So in order to remove the hyphen values, what we'll do is we'll just select all the months and then unpivot them so that it will show up as a attribute or value format, and easily we can remove the hyphen values from them. So what we'll do is we'll just select month 1 to month 12 and then click on unpivot columns. This will give us the format of attribute versus values, and you just over the filter and then just remove the hyphen values from the value column. Now we'll do some renaming, like attribute to month number and value to target. Now what we'll do is we'll replace this month number with the existing date function or a date column. So first step would be to just right click on the month number and select replace values. So what we'll do is we'll just find M and replace it with empty. So just click on OK. It will it has removed all the month. Okay, so this is the month number that we've got. Now what we'll do is we'll just extract a date from that month number. So one of the best feature which I observe in Power BI is getting data based on identification of the pattern. So we can get and add a new column based on some examples as well. So if we go and click on add column, there's an option called column from examples. In column from example, you just need to type values, and then it will learn and identify anything which is under the pattern. So this column 1 is currently empty. If you notice that year column is 2017 and month number is 7, we'll type some values in the date format and we'll see how it goes. So this is, I'm typing 1st of July 2017, and if you click on this one, if you just press enter, notice the magic that it fulfills and identify the pattern. So it's getting number, the first date as first, then month number, then year in the format which is given there, which means that we have the column month. We can just now format it according to the date. So notice this is created as a merged column. We'll just rename it to target month, and we will remove these two columns. So for example, we remove the year column as well as the month name column. So now we'll have target month, the target, and the employee ID. So instead of adding a column, we'll just go to the transform ribbon and then click on standard and multiply it by 1000, and this will give us the updated revised values. And you can see that there are 3 columns in that values. We'll just save this. Now the last one, what we'll do is the color format query. And in this color format, if you see that there are columns, the header appear in the first record. So what we can do is we can go to the home tab, and then under the transform section there says use first row as headers. There are another option as well. So use headers as first rows, use first rows as headers. Click on this one. We'll move the first rows to the header format. And then rename this this color format. I don't think that there's nothing more required, because it's just giving a background color and font color associated with that. What we can do from here is to update the product query based on these colors. So if you select on product query, we will need to merge the color format query in the product colors. So because this is colors, and we need to merge, and at the end result should appear that there is a color column and there are some background and foreground colors as well. Font colors as well to be appeared. So we go to the merge queries, and a dialog box opens up with the first table. We can select the second table as color format. Now what we'll do is we'll just select one column from the first table and the matching column from the second table. So what we'll do is we'll just match up the colors along with the and fetch the background color and font color format. The join kind will remain as it is, the left outer join, which means that they'll fetch up all the values in the second tables, matching up with the first table. Just click on OK. And one thing we need to update is the privacy levels, because we are merging two queries. We'll keep this to organization and save. So after merging the query, a table object appears in the color format. So we'll just expand this, and we'll all we need is the background color format as well as the font color format, and this will update this product table with the merged query. Now what we'll do is since we have all the information associated with this table in the product table, we'll just ignore this query to load. So we'll just right click on the in a color format and then click on enable load. This will, once the data will be refreshed, it will not load. So only these tables, 7 tables will be loaded, not this one. So now we've done with all the transformation steps and all the stuff for each table, and we have 8 queries here, out of which only 7 will be loaded and this will not be loaded. So what we'll do is now we'll move these data query, Power Query editor to the data model, so all the tables will be loaded to the Power BI data model. So we click on this close and apply button, and as soon as we do, the load process starts, and all the records have been loaded. So if you can see, there are 7 columns which are loaded, and this will have multiple information associated, and data is also there. So as you can see, 7 columns have been loaded in the data model. So now what we'll do is we will now create a relationship between product and sales. So if you can see in the product, if you can go to the data view and check the product table, it has the product key, category, subcategory, colors and stuff. And this product key is important because in the sales table, if you can see, there are product keys existing. So we will just create a relationship between the sales table and the table related to product. So we will create a relationship between the sales table and the product table using the product key. So first approach is that what we will do is we'll go to the data modeling view, the model view, and we'll see the sales table here. And then what we'll do is we'll go to the home tab and manage relationship. It opens up a dialog box. Just click on new, and after that it is open up the create relationship dialog box where we select the product and then select the appropriate key to match up. So we'll select this product key and then select the sales table. Notice that the product key in the sales table is highlighted automatically, and automatically the cardinality has been detected as well. So let me cancel this and I'll show you about the cardinality. It is one to many at this moment, but if we cancel this and if we create a new relationship between those table as well, and this time I will select the sales table with the product key selected and then the product table. So now you can see it says many to one. This means that there are many records in the sales table and then only single records exist in the product table. We'll just click on OK and then click on close. Now you can see between the sales table and the product table, there is a relationship exists now in order to be displayed there. So let's take this another approach. What we'll do is we'll just we'll take this reseller table, and from that reseller table drag this reseller key and put it here in the sales table. I'm just doing it one more time. There you go. Similar thing we'll do for sales territory. another one for employee key. What we will do now is we will test this relationship, and we'll just on a visualization report tab, we'll see how it is working. So we'll check the category of the product, and based on that category, we'll fetch up total sales. So if I checkbox this, it will show up the total sales based on category, and we can try out another option of adding a subcategory as well. So what we'll do is we'll just drag it up, remove category, and it's showing sales as subcategories as well as category. So what we'll do now is we'll create a hierarchy and hiding some formatting and categorizing some columns. What we'll do is now is we will go to the data tab, and then we'll see the product table here, and it will show it is, and if you see all the fields here, so you can see that it has all the fields together. And if you right click the category column and click on create hierarchy, so what it will do, it will create a category hierarchy. The original column will remain intact, but it will create a category hierarchy that only contains category. Now what we'll do is we'll switch to the modeling pane, and if you'll see, there are multiple properties here that is displayed when you select a particular table. So in this case, we've selected product table, and in that product table, we've created a hierarchy based on category. So now what we'll do is we'll use this property pane to add a subcategory to that category hierarchy. We'll click on category hierarchy, and then scroll down and select a column to add label. And if we select subcategory, it will have a label to be shown, like category as a first level and subcategory as a second level. We just click on apply level changes. And now if you expand this category hierarchy, it will show up category and subcategory. If you note that the category column as well as the subcategory column will remain intact, and it is just creating a hierarchy for better visibility and better usage. We will also add a third level, which are called products, and this product will be the third level in the category domain. We'll just click on apply level changes again, and we'll see the impact that the first level is category, the second one is subcategory, and the third one is product. If we want to shuffle it, we just need to click on the one and drag it above or below, and then click on the things, apply level changes. And if you see, as soon as it is done, the product moved up and the subcategory moved down. We'll just ignore these changes. One last thing what we'll do is we'll just rename these to products. So now what we'll have the product table. In that, we've created a hierarchy where which is named as product, and it contains category, subcategory, and product fields. Now what we'll do is we'll just combine and create a folder, or you would say categorize and organize the columns which are similar. So in this case, what we'll do is we'll just use the background color format and the font color format and rename them to appear in a folder format. So what we'll do is we'll just select both. You can hold Control key and select multiple columns. And if you see the property pane, there's a field called display folder. In that display folder, what we will do is we'll just type formatting, press enter. As soon as we do, it creates a formatting folder, and under that both of the columns are stored, you would say. And remember to say the difference between folder creation and hierarchy is that, hierarchy just create a reference column and add it into the hierarchy, but the original columns remains intact. While in the formatting, while you create a folder, then what will happen is that these columns are not displayed outside the folders. So now what we'll do is we'll configure the regions table, and in this one we will just group the country, group, and region to one hierarchy. So I'll start off with creating a hierarchy for group, and then adding country and region to this. And we'll click on this one, rename this to regions, and yeah. So now what we will do is we'll click on this country, original one, not the hierarchy one, because the hierarchy one just gives limited information. The original column gives more information. If you just scroll down to advanced, and if you see that there is one data category, and we will just categorize this to country/region. In this way, the Power Query or the Power BI visualization and everything will be able to understand automatically that this is a country, and if you use map visual, it will be displayed easily. Now we'll do reseller. So reseller, what we'll do is we'll just combine business type and reseller. So what we'll do is we'll just click on business type first, and then create hierarchy, which we'll name as resellers. And in that one, we will add this. So we will add this reseller to the business type as well. And yeah, there you go. We will create another hierarchy using country, state, province, city, and the reseller itself. So we start off with country, click on hierarchy, we'll create an hierarchy, and then add state, province, city, and reseller to the hierarchy. And we will rename this to geography. And now we'll rename, or we'll categorize the data. So for example, city, if we click on, and if we advance, if we'll select it as city. And then country, we'll select it as country region, and state, province, not this one, the original one, we will, yeah, so this is state so this is state or province. So this is done for the reseller table. Now what we'll do is we'll just configure the sales table, and in sales table, if you click on cost, and in the property table, if you scroll up, there's a description, and just type based on standard cost. This description can be applied to tables, columns, and hierarchies. And this description can be revealed in the tooltip as well. Now we'll select the quantity column, And if you scroll down, and there is a formatting section where it is said that whole number, and move this 1000 separator to yes. Now we'll click on unit price, and in the property we'll just use decimal places to 2. After this is done, what we will do is we'll just scroll down, and in the advanced section there's an option called summarize by, and by default it is selected as sum. We'll select it as average. So this means that by default the numerical columns generally summarize by summing the values. So with the unit price, we will have kind of a average unit price. We will not sum the unit price because the total sales might be can be summed up. But if you want to calculate a unit price for a particular category, for example, we will enable Power BI to make and categorize it as an average. It generally takes time because it is this operation is applied to the entire column. So if you have a larger data set, I would suggest not to use it because it will create it will take more resources, and your Power BI file will stop responding for a bit. So now what we'll do is we'll just bulk update some of the properties. We want to hide some things and we want to format some columns. So we'll come to the model tab, and now we will do is to select some columns. Make sure to have the properties pane enabled or visible. We will select to hide certain field values which are not being used or will not be used in the calculations or in the report itself. So first we will select multiple values by in the region. We will select sales territory key, and then in the reseller we'll hold down control and select reseller key. So make sure both are selected, and the next one we will select is also selected by holding the control key. So next one is the employee key in the sales table, product key in the sales table, as well as the reseller key. We'll also select sales order number and sales territory key. So make sure to hold down control key before selecting multiple columns. We'll do some things in the salesperson table as well, like employee ID, employee key, and UPN. UPN is the email address that is there. We will also select some of the persons in the salesperson region, and we will select the employee key and sales territory key. If you see here in the modeling tab, all selected columns are visible here, and all selected columns are highlighted in the sense. In the target table, we'll also select employee ID. Now in the property pane, we will see this property called is hidden, and we'll just click this to make it hidden. So now all of these columns are hidden, which will not be displayed in the visualization tab or the report tab. So these columns are hidden because they are either used by relationships or will be used in row level security configuration or calculation logic. Now we'll do some formatting, and we'll use that same multi-select approach. So in the product table, this is standard cost. In the sales table, we have the column cost. We make sure to hold down the control key and then select. And then sales. So this means that three columns are selected, and in the property pane from inside, I mean if you scroll down in the formatting table, we will use this decimal place and make it 0. Now if you select to the report view, and if you see the columns, there are only limited columns that appears, because the columns that we hide are not visible in the report view, which will make easier for us to utilize only those columns which we need to analyze the data. This table, salesperson region, it's hidden because all of the values in that, or all of the columns in that table is hidden, so it will not be visible in the report view. Remember, we added a description on the cost, and if you hover this cost, it is appearing, the description is appearing as we entered, like based on standard cost. So this description is appearing there. Some things are created by default in Power BI, especially with the date fields. So if you see order date, a by default hierarchy is being created, which has sliced the date field to year, quarter, month, and day. In the target months also deliver the same hierarchy by default. This has created a default hierarchy, but we don't need this hierarchy, so we can switch it off because we need only the date functions, so or the date field, and we don't need this hierarchy because we just want to keep the date function, and we'll manipulate that date function using DAX queries. And so in order to switch off this behavior, what we'll do is we'll just go to the options and settings in the file menu, and then select options. And just scroll down to the current file, and in that current file, click on data load, and just unselect this auto date and time in the time intelligence section, and click OK. So what this will do, this will just create a date. It will remove the automatic hierarchy of the date. So after doing this everything, now we'll create some quick measures. So quick measure gives an opportunity to create some predefined measures, which are, of course, in the back end it is DAX which is executed, but it is we have some options of quick measures to give as like the calculations and whatever we would like to. There are some by default calculations mentioned here, the filters and the time intelligence as well as the totals. So now we need to find out, what we need to do is we just need to find out the sales versus cost, which means that it's a profit loss calculation. So in profit loss calculation, we just go to the quick measure, select the type of calculation. If you scroll down, there are some mathematical operations that says, click on subtraction. It opens up a base value and the value to subtract. So we just select in the sales table, we drag the sales, which is sum of sales, and the cost, which is the sum of cost. If you just click on OK, this will create a measure called sales minus cost. And if you see the formula pane, it is a simple DAX query that is calculating sum of sales and sum minus sum of sales cost. We will just double click this, and just rename it to profit. The other option to rename is to right click and then click on rename. If you notice that this this profit is actually from sales table, but this is stored under profit, under product table. We want to move this profit measure to the sales table. Sometimes it happens that if we create some measures, like if you just right click something and we click on quick measures and the appropriate table is not selected, or you forgot to select the appropriate table. So what you can do is you can just click on this measure, go to the measure tools in the menu, which is automatically selected, and if you see here home table, this is product. We will just move this home table to sales. Now what will happen is that this profit measure has been moved from the product table to sales table. So in the sales table, we'll create another measure, a quick measure, which is called, and now we'll select this calculation as division, and we will use the existing quick measure that we created. So we'll drag this profit to the numerator and sales, sum of sales, to the denominator. And we'll click on OK. This is profit divided by sales. We will just rename this to profit margin. We will ensure that the profit margin is a percentage. So when you click on this measure, in the measure tools, there's a format option. We will select this as percentage. Secondly, what we'll do is we'll just give the decimal places to 2. So we'll just click on 2 and press enter. So to test these two measures, what we will do is we will use the table again, use product category. Then from the sales table, we'll put up sales, we'll put up cost, we'll click profit, and then profit margin. So what it's showing is here is individual category sales minus the cost will give profit and the profit margin. You can make these values and font as bigger for a better display. So we'll make these fonts some bigger so that it is displayed properly. Now what we'll do is we'll generally switch to the modeling tab. And if you zoom in, and you see the fact table and the dimension tables been created here, and all the relationships here are one-to-many or many-to-one. Now we'll create a many-to-many relationship. Next, what we'll do is we'll create a many-to-many relationship between salesperson and region, because and sales as well, because if you see the sales made by each salesperson is linked. I mean, the sales is linked to the salesperson, but there is also a relationship between the salespeople and the region. So some of the salespeople can belong to multiple regions. So if you see here in the region table, we can link this to the sales as well as region as well. So first what we'll do is we'll create a table visual. And then from the salesperson table, we'll just put in salesperson. This will give a long list of salesperson here. And then from the sales table, we'll put in sales. If we sort this to the top one, and just see Michael Blake sold almost 9 million. Keep an eye on this score. Keep an eye on this number. I'll probably make it more so this is in a bigger size. Now what we'll do is we'll switch to the model view. This is a tip for separating out the tables. This displays all table. You can create another relationship layout view, and then we can create another one with a cleaner layout. Everything else will remain the same, the relationships for all tables, but it gives you a better view of how we can separate out the individual table relationship. So we'll drag a region table, salesperson region, and salesperson. See, these table doesn't have any relationship. If I create another layout and if I bring sales and region, it has existing relationships. So it is just bringing in that existing relationship. I'll go ahead and delete this. We'll focus on the second layout. Now what we need to do is we use the drag and drop technique from salesperson employee key to salesperson region employee key. And region has a sales territory key. We'll just drag this to the salesperson region as well. Now since this salesperson region only connects with both of the keys, we will consider this as a bridging table in between region and salesperson. After doing those relationships, we just double check whether anything has changed or not. It hasn't changed anything. So if you notice the arrow here, from salespersons to salesperson region, it filters the salesperson region by salesperson, but it's not the case in the region. So what we'll do is we'll just edit this relationship. We just double click on the line, and then under this cross filter direction, select both. So this will do is it will filter the tables in both directions. Make sure to apply security filter in both directions. Now what will happen is that it has changed this relationship as bidirection. So this can filter this as well as this can filter this. So the values, if we want to filter salesperson region, we can also, due to that direction, we will also be able to filter by region. If we double check the report view, the values still remains the same. We'll now bring the sales table in the picture as well to see how it is propagating the details about it. So if you see here, sales territory key is connected to salesperson region as well as the sales table as well, while there is another pathway which is connected through the region, salesperson region and salesperson to the sales. So what it's doing is it is creating multiple pathways for the relationship. We need to switch off one pathway so that Power BI, the relationship, understands which pathway to follow. In this case, what we'll do is we'll just double click this salesperson and sales relationship and just uncheck this, make this relationship active. So what it will do is it will disable the relationship between salesperson and sales and only activate it through the region table. So if we want to filter by region and sales, we can, take this pathway to display. Now let's go back to the report view and notice that everything has changed. So now what we'll go is we'll go to the modeling view. We'll click on the salesperson table, expand the property, and then rename this to salesperson performance. And there you go. So this is done. So now what we'll do is we'll create a relationship between sales performance or salesperson performance as well as the targets. Before doing that, we'll move to the report view and we'll just create another table with salesperson, the sales as well as target. So notice that this target, the value of the target is constant, which has not changed, but we know that this is not the case. Each individual salesperson has his own target. So you need to look into this view. So we'll switch back to the model view. We'll just drag this employee ID with this target's employee ID. And we'll come back. After doing that, we'll come back to the report view and see this. Everything has changed and each individual person has his own targets. And so this means that everything is ready to be analyzed in terms of sales, in terms of targets. So it is now possible to visualize sales and target. So first we will create a calculated table, and what we will do is we'll just replicate the salesperson's table and create it as a calculated table. So what we can do is we can go to the modeling pane and click on new table. So you see the formula bar appears as table equals, and now you need to write some code. So what we'll write here is salesperson equals you can see the intelligence is also working here. So we will just it guides us that which table to connect. So we'll just simply replicate this sales performance table and create it as a new table. If you look at this icon, it has a calculator as well as the table. So this denotes that it is a calculated table. It has the same data as the other original table has. The only difference is that if you see that this salesperson performance table only has title and salesperson, while this salesperson table has the entire columns which are there. Also, the formatting doesn't apply on the new calculated table. And if you see a relationship, there is no relationship of this salesperson table, while the performance table has a relationship with other tables as well. So you can do a calculated table, and you can replicate or copy the table if you want to create a relation, if you want to keep it as a separate one. Now what we'll do is we'll create a relationship between employee key of this calculated table with the sales table. So this is a complete new relationship, and it doesn't affect any other tables with the other relationship, because this has gone some complicated, and we have disabled this employee key relationship uh, to the sales table and the salesperson table. So now this is completely new relationship. So now if we want to calculate sales by person, we will use this salesperson table rather than the performance table. We'll also now hide some of the columns like employee key, employee ID, and UPN. So we'll just control click these columns, right click, and click on hide in report view. So if we click on salesperson table now, in the property, we can enter the description as well to be displayed in the report view. We'll enter it now as salesperson related to sales. Yes, there you go. In the salesperson performance, we'll enter description sales person related to regions. So that when we go back to the report view, we will be able to easily identify the description that what it is. This is a salesperson related to region, and this salesperson is related to sales. In the last video, we mentioned about that uh, the targets and the salesperson's target performance is not measured by the date. So there we don't have any generic date table here, so that we can, after that we can slice and dice based on that. But I mean, by generic means that there is no specific date table with which we can connect to our sales data and the dates, and then slice and dice based on the date table. So what we'll do is we'll create a DAX function of a calculated table. We'll simply go to the modeling view and then click on new table, and then we'll give it a date function, date table name, and there's a function called calendar auto, and this has an argument inside that says fiscal year and month. This means that which month the fiscal year ends. So we'll put up June here and click on enter. If you go to the data view and click on date, it has created dates from 1st of July 2017 right till 30th of June 2022. If you look at the sales table and the order date, it starts from 1st of July and ends on 2020. So what it does is that it automatically it returns it returns a date value or date uh, column, and the calendar auto means that it scans all the data model date columns to determine the earliest and the latest value stored in that data model. It then creates one row for each date within its range and and it will extend the range in either direction to ensure full years of data is stored. So if you see the 1st of July 2017, this must have analyzed the target table, which is taking 1st of July, and it is spanning till 2021. So this date table has around 1826 rows, which means that they've generated a 5 years data. We've created now some calculated tables from salespersons and date. Now what we'll do is we'll create a calculated column. This date table is just showing up dates. We will create some more columns in this date table so that we'll be able to ensure that we can slice and dice in different dimensions of the date. We'll just click on this ellipsis and then click on new column. Now what we'll do is we'll create an year column. An year column is related to the financial year or the fiscal year. So what we'll do is we'll just update it by saying FY, and we need the date in the format of FY21, FY17, FY18 or something. So what we'll do is we'll write FY and then connect it with the date. We have a year function where we can input date. If we press this, if we press enter, we'll create a year table. And notice what will happen is that it is going to So notice what's going on here is that 1st of January 2018 is showing FY 2018. It should show FY 2017 till 30th of June. So what we'll do is we'll just modify this query and we'll add a if function statement. So if month, and we'll say that if the month is greater than 6, then true, otherwise false. What it's doing is just adding the date as an argument in the month. It will check each month, each record month. If it is greater than 6, then it will add 1, or else it will remain 0. What will happen is here is that this is showing as FY18 in a correct manner, and FY18 is shown till 30th of June 2018. So this means the next financial year or fiscal year starts, and it is FY 2019. So this year is calculated. Now we'll create another column which covers up the quarter. Now we can use that year column that we created in our DAX calculations. So if we select this date year, So what are doing is we are using the Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 methodology, and we need to have some if statements in terms of displaying the month range in between. So now what's done here is that we are calculating the year FY 2018 Q1, FY 2018 Q2, and so on. So this is the year for each record, and then we are adding a letter Q, and then we are applying some if statement. First one is that if the month is less than equal to 3, this means March, then it is quarter 3. If month of date table less than equal 3, we have 3, comma, if parenthesis and 3. We'll copy paste this one and just modify whatever is required. The month is greater than equal to 6, then 4, and if greater than equal to 9, then it's 1, and the rest of the remaining one is quarter 2. We'll close all the parentheses. This is for the first one, this is for the second one, this is for the third one. We'll just click on this arrow and see what is done. It's creating FY 2018 quarter 1. Quarter 2 starts from 1st of October. Quarter 3 starts from 1st of January. And quarter 4 starts from 1st of April. So we are all set to define the year and quarter for the fiscal year. We would also like to have a month column. So what we'll do is we'll create a new month column, name it as month, and it is a simple one that we use a format function. In that format function, we input the date value and then the formatting type. In this formatting type, what we'll do is we'll just write year and MMM. The formatting type or the denotation of the years and months can be found out online on the Microsoft Power BI help site. Once we press enter, the month is created. So it is in the format of 2017 year and the 3 letters of the month. Now what we'll do is we'll create validate this date table. So what we'll do is now we'll create a table. Let's take a matrix. So it has rows, columns, and the values. So what we'll do is we'll drag this row. We'll drag quarter, year, and month. And then from the sales table, we'll drag sales to the column. to the value, sorry. Notice that the sales value are not working because it's showing just one value of that. That is because we haven't created any relationship between sales and the date table. But for the functionality of testing the year versus a month and quarter, we can see this financial year 21 has 4 quarters. Quarter one has 3 months, and then and so on. So one thing to notice here is that the months are not in a correct order. So it's by default as an alphabetical order, which needs to be in the format of a monthly order. So we can go back, and what we can do is we can click on this month column, and there is an option called sort column by. This sorts out the column by the contents of the other column. So by default it has selected its own column, but we can select other columns as well. So this means that if we click on date column, it has given me that we cannot sort the month column by date. There can be more than one value for the date. This means that July, this has multiple values and this can be more values associated. So there is no one-on-one reference in that. So for if the engine just try to search for July and look for a unique value, there are multiple values under the same value here. So you cannot sort it out with date. What we will do is we will create another column called date or month key. We'll create a month key column in the date table. So let's go ahead and click on new column from the Hope tab. And then write month key equals year. Sorry. Year and date 200 plus month. So this calculates a unique key for each month and each year. If we remove this 100 from the calculation, we will just see that it adds up to the the numbers and the stuff. So it adds 7 years to 2017. So you need to have this multiplied by 100. It displays complete value. Now what we'll do is we'll click on month field, and then using that table sort column, we'll select month key. Now see, it will sort out. If we go back to the report view, it sorts out all the months according to the key. Now what we'll do is we'll perform some operations on the date table. So first thing what we'll do is we'll just hide this month key. So if we go to the field's name, there's a eye icon. You just click on this one. It will hide the month key from the report view. We will also create a hierarchy for year, quarter, and month. So it has created year. We'll just drag quarter and month to this. We will also create a relationship between date, sales, and targets. So what we'll do is we'll just use the date key with the order date, and the date key with target month. You can use the other way around as well, target month to the date key. So since now we have created a relationship with the date and sales and days and target, we'll hide the order date from the sales table. So any date function that is to be used will be used from the date table. I'm hiding order date as well as the target month. So the best practice is that once you have created successful relationship between two tables, you can hide the many side of the relationship. So this is one to many. So the many side has the month, the column there, and in this sales table as well. So what we can do is we can just hide those two columns so that anything that we need from the something related to the date, we can use the date table. The last thing what we'll do is we'll mark the date table as a date table, you'll say. So just click on the date table, and there's an option in the table tools called mark as date table, and you click on mark date table. It will ask you for the date column because it's not necessary that the date column is named as date. You can have other date names as well. So it has detected that this is the only column that is available, and this has validated successfully. We can just click on OK, and remember this thing has changed the icon to the date table, and it has identified this as a date table. Remember, this date table will help us create advanced DAX calculations, time intelligence calculations, like previous years, previous months, same period, like last year, and all the stuff. We can notice now, once we've created a relationship, for each year, the sales amount has changed and it has updated now with the appropriate values. So now what we'll do is we'll create some simple measures. So for example, related to average price and other stuff, it is include average price, minimum, maximum price, and median pricing. So, but first what we'll do is we'll just drag this unit price to the values, and it is displaying unit price. And if we click on the details, it is putting as an average, not the sum, while the sales is given as a sum and it's to be totaled as a sum. If you remember that we've done it in the data modeling and made the unit price default summarization as average, so that is the reason why it is displaying average by default. This summarization is done implicitly. We can create a measure that contains pricing related to average. So explicitly we can also create a measure. So we just click on the sales table, and then now we'll click on new measure. A new measure, we are calculating average price. We'll use the formula average and then sales table, then click on unit price. This will create an average price measure. If we have dragged the unit price column, we can change the aggregation technique, like if you want to switch minimum pricing. So if you see, this minimum pricing is done, but if we drag this average price to the sales, and if we go back and select it as average, the values remain same, but the difference between the measure and the column is that, in measure we cannot change any aggregation technique, like, we cannot switch from average to sum, we cannot switch from sum to minimum or maximum, but from the raw table we can do that. Now what we'll do is we'll create some more visuals. Sorry, now so what we'll do is we'll create some more measures, that includes the minimum price, maximum price, the median price, and the count or number of orders, and number of order records. So now we have created few measures, starting off with maximum price, median price, minimum price, and something related to orders as well. So notice that order versus order lines, the difference is that order has a distinct count function, which means that it's ignoring duplicates, while order lines has count row function, which means that it is just literally counting the records, and the order function is just using the distinct count to find unique order numbers. We will switch to the modeling tab and then group these measures under a folder. So what we have done is we have just control clicked and multi-selected this, and then in the property pane we are adding pricing so that these measures are grouped as pricing. Since we have added basic pricing measures, we can hide the unit price column so that the report creators can use only the pricing measures which are calculated, not the unit price. We'll also group the order as well as order lines to under the same function as counts, folder as counts, and this will have everything that we require for the counts as well as the pricing. If we go back here and click on the matrix, we will remove the unit price column from the matrix and just keep average price measure in that. Now we will create another page. Just cut paste this visual from one first page to another, and we will now see and explore how it is, how every measure works with the values. We will just increase the size of the matrix, make it to expand it to the visibility. So now what we'll do is we'll just select average price. Sorry, we will select average price, then we'll we'll go we'll go for median price, minimum price, maximum price, and from the counts we'll just select order and order lines. We will also go back and remove quarter from this, so it is displayed in a format of year versus month. So now the results look sensible in the sense that um, the pricing are given in a decimal format while the orders are in the quantity format. The only thing that we are looking to change the decimal points for the average price. If you click on the measure of the average price, it has currency and it is put as auto. We'll just put 2 and press enter. So what will happen here is that it will remove the other 4 points of the decimal and make it just 2 decimal points. So now what we'll do is we'll just create some additional measures. First is the target table with the target amount, and we will use the has one value function, that whether this target table has one value, it gives the details about the employees. So we will create a new measure in the target table, says target. I'm giving target 1 because there is there is existing target value there. So target 1 equals if has one value. This has one value is that if there is only one value of a specified column, it returns true, otherwise it false. So this is an if condition. So if there is no value associated with that particular record, then it will not be displayed. So we are checking sales performance. So we'll just scroll down, salesperson performance, and there you go, and then click on salesperson. This is the condition that we have applied. So if it has one value, then sum the targets. Now we'll finish that and we'll press enter. And then we will format this as 0 decimal places. Now what we'll do is we'll create another page. In that we'll put up salesperson and target 1. So this will give us target of that particular salesperson. If you put the original target value, notice that it remains the same, but it is now it is also it is doing some totals of that. Let's go and remove this. We will also create 2 other measures like variance and variance margin. So now we have created a variance and variance margin. It uses the same has no one value function, and it's just subtracting the target versus the sum of sales. And the variance margin is just using the divide function of variance and target. So if we bring this variance here as well as the variance margin, remember it is not formatted correctly. So what we'll do is we'll just format it correctly. So this is currency with 0 decimal. Probably we'll add 2 decimal places to this. And this variance margin is a percentage. This variance margin is a percentage. So we've selected it as a percentage. What we will do now is we'll just use this target amount, since we have created a target amount measure. So what we'll do is we'll just hide the original column. And if you see, as soon as we hide this column, this targets went to the top of the uh, uh, pane, because it only contains measures. So any table or anything that only contains measures will go on top of the table with the icon has a calculator in this, and that's it. So now we'll move to the next level, which is the advanced DAX functionalities and the advanced DAX calculations. So now we're ready. We'll create a page 3 and we'll input a matrix visual. We'll make it to the full screen of the canvas. Now what we'll do is we'll just drag regions hierarchy and we'll drop this inside the visual. So this means that this region, this hierarchy, the first level of the group is displayed. We'll also add the sales field in this, and we'll just drag and drop here. If you see, whenever we put up a hierarchy or multiple rows in the uh, multiple fields in this row section, we see there are some buttons that comes up. So first is, this is called the drill down function. So once you click on this one, and if you click on any of the visual, it just drills down to the next level of the hierarchy. So for example, I've clicked on Europe, and now I'll click on France, and it will display all the things related to France itself. So we can go back up the hierarchy by clicking the up arrow, the drill up button, and till the time it grays out, where which means that this is the topmost part of the hierarchy. We just switch this off, which means that it is not focusing on the it's not filtering the one specific group, but filtering multiple. Then there are two lines which is just showing the next level of the hierarchy. So if we click on this one, it will hide the group and it will just show the country. If you click on another time, then it will show region as well. So this means that group, country, region, we click on the double arrow downwards, we can always go back and drill up to the first level. This icon, which is the double fork arrow down, this is an interesting one. It gives us a hierarchy of everything. So it expands to one level. So for example, if I click on this one, everything is expanded and the next level is shown. If I click on this another time, then the entire matrix is expanded till the last level. So if you have 5 levels, then you can do it 5 times. If there are only 3 levels, then we are doing it 3 times. Now we will do some formatting of this. So if you go to the format visual pane, and then there are two options. We can either scroll and search for the options, but we can search as well in terms of the layout. So if you search layout, and it is under the row header, it says step layout as on. We just turn this off and see that instead of expanding to within one column, it is now expanded to the individual columns. Next, what we'll do is we'll just manipulate the filter context. So as you can see, this sales amount that we've put up, it has been filtered according to the region or the country or the group itself. So if you see, the total for the group is 10 million, and the uh, group for the total for the individual country is, for example, 4.5 million. So this means that it is filtering the data according to the filter context. If you want to remove something, remove filters, which that says, if you want to calculate sales, the total sales for all regions, this will help us manipulate the difference between, or the percentage of the sales itself. So we will create a measure that we will call sales for all region, and then we'll use a calculate function. This calculate function is the most important function and the most powerful function to manipulate different things. This time we will be using the filter context in that. What we'll do is, now we'll check the calculate sum of sales, and then there is a formula called remove filters. This will remove the filters from specific tables and columns. And this time what we'll do is we'll just give a name of a table, which is the region table. So anything that is there will remove in terms of the region table. So now we'll validate this, and if you see here, this is come up here, and if we include it into the matrix, it shows one value for all the individual items. Now what we'll do is we will need to calculate the sales according to the uh, all regions, and we want to calculate a specific regional or country level sale based on the percentage. So what we'll do is we'll just create another measure, and we will use the divide function that will sum the sales as well as uh, the divide by the numerator. So I'll just use that. So what it's doing is that it's calculating sum of percentage for all region, and this is dividing sales, sum of sales, and then the denominator has the filters with all the sales that we just created. So if we validate this, it shows sales percentage for all region, and this is displaying sales percentage for all region. We will just format it in the percentage format. So this is giving all the sales percentage. If we want to expand everything, then it's showing the percentage all region. Remember, we have applied this to all region. This is showing 5.84 for France, and total is also 5.84, and this is showing the total based on the region or the country. Now what we'll do is we'll just create another measure that will apply or remove filter by the country or the region, so that it is displayed all percentage by country. So sales percentage country equals divide divide sum of sales is this, and comma calculate sum of sales again. Remove filter region, and this time we'll include region specific column to that. This is creating remove filter, this is closing calculate, and this is closing divide. What will happen is now it will create sales by percentage according to the country. If we include this uh, in this model and format it in the percentage, remember everything is 100%, but United States is showing actual values of that because it has been divided into multiple regions. Now what we'll do is we'll just rename, or we'll just include a function or a check whether if it is in scope, if it is covering in the hierarchy, it is not showing up in the hierarchy, which is just one value, then just ignore this. So the in scope function, whether the region column is the level in the hierarchy of levels, or whether or not when it is it returns true or false. When it is false, which is a blank value, because the sorry the is in scope function is used to test the column whether it is in the level of hierarchy or not. When it is true, a divide function is executed. If it is false, then a blank value is shown. So let's use this. If is in scope region, and this is the region. So what we'll do is region and then comma divide, and then we'll close the parenthesis of if condition as well. So what will happen here is it is just showing the context of the country level or the region level itself, and ignoring or putting up blanks where there is nothing, where there is no group required or any other thing. So we will add a couple of more measures that will filter out the group, and then what we'll do is we'll just create a folder and combine them together. So the what we have done is we've created measures by country, by region, and then we will just create another measure create that will create it by sales by group. In this one, we've used that whether it is in scope in region or country, any of the one will return value true, and if in condition of false, it will return a blank value. So this is removing the filter region and countries to that, so that it is filtered as group. We will format this as a percentage. We will make the names consistent, like removing all. So, and then we will try to include this in the context as well, and you will see that by group it's showing the actual values, and by region, country, it's showing the individual appropriate values. We will move back to the data modeling view, and we will just select, control click and multiple select this, and give a name of the folders to ratios. So now what we'll work is we'll work on creating some time intelligent functions. Time intelligent functions brings up some functions related to date calculations and period calculations as well. So what we'll do is we'll just create year to date measure in the sales table. So in that sales table, if you click on this one, click on sales, and we'll name this as sales YTD, and we will use total. There's a function called total YTD, and then we will include sum of sales. It is showing as it requires the date column, so we'll use the date column to be displayed here. And the last one, sorry, the last filter, we are ignoring the filter, but we are giving the year and date, which is 0630. This means that year and date is the 30th of June, and the year to date will change and will reset after for 30th of June for each year. If we try to put up here in the sales year to date, it will not work because there's nothing related to dates here. So what we'll do is we'll now test it in the sense. So on a new page, we'll just click and put up a matrix visual, and we'll select the year and month functions here, and we'll do it together so that this is shown as a hierarchy. We will expand these columns, and then we'll add the total sales values and then sales year to date. And if you notice this, that the first month of the sales year to date and sales is same. The second month is accumulating till the time it hits June, and it resets now after the new financial year or fiscal year that is coming through. If there is in May 2020 and June 2020, there is, so if you see June 2020 there is no sales, then the year to date remained the same. We will now create another measure that calculates year on year growth, and this is specific related to the date with the last year growth in terms of the sales. Sales YOY growth equals, now what we're doing is we are using calculate function, sum of sales, now there's a filter, there's a function called parallel period, and in that parallel period we will add some of the, this is a kind of a parallel period dates, where we add the date name, in that parallel period we will add the date, and the number of interval will be -12. This means previous thing, and the interval is month. So last 12 month parallel period give the sum of sales. Closing, this is closing. This sales year-on-year growth that calculates the sum of sales using the parallel period function and shift last 12 months back from each date of the filter. We will explore this now to see what does it mean. I'm increasing the values to 16, for example, so that it is more clearly displayed, and I'm just including this function as there. So since 2018 there is no previous year sales, so this is blank. If you see July 2017 versus July 2018, it is showing the previous year's sales amount for each individual. So if you see July 2019 2.4 million, July 2018 2.4 million, 2019 is actually 2.7 million, and so on. So next, if you can see FY21, there are no sales, but we have the data for the same period last year. So this is showing as May, not including June because June is blank. So 3328607, 3328607. Now what we'll do is we'll create a percentage of change or growth to calculate using this function within. So what we'll do is sales YOY growth percentage, and this calculates, and this divides the sum of sales and we'll include more parentheses in that because we are just subtracting the sum of sales minus sales year-on-year growth. This means the previous year sales. Closing the parenthesis, so it is showing sum of sales minus sales of year-on-year growth. This is the numerator, and then the denominator is sales year-on-year growth, showing the percentage of the year-on-year growth. So if you apply this here and apply the percentage here, we will see sales have increased 392%, 134%, 7%, 7%. Look at this, 1564, 1455 previous years. So it has, this. So this has grown, So this says that year-on-year increase for in July is 400% sales, so 4 times you would say. Last things what we'll do, we'll just use these time intelligence function, put it under time intelligence folder. This is the next part where everything is ready with the DAX operations and the time intelligence function. And now what we'll do is we will create the visualization and the reports. So this is the visualization area where we will create some records, graphs. We will create some graphs and charts as well as apply some filters, and we will also place a company logo or a picture so that this will illustrate that it is related to a particular company, and Um, so we will start off with adding slicer to the first page. Um, we will what we will do is we'll rename this page by double clicking it and rename it to overview. This is an overview page. The first page will be an overview page of the report where it will give a summarized information of everything. We will do is we will create two slicers. So first one is that we will add a date hierarchy. So what we'll do is we will add a year field. So this is coming as a fiscal year, and we just need it at this moment, and we need to change it to a drop down menu. So what we will do is we will go to the formatting visualization and then slicer setting. Currently it's showing vertical list. We will just click and select drop down list. So now it will give a drop down list. We will adjust the size of the slicer. Now we will create a second slicer based on the regions. So this is the second one which we will create. We will just adjust some size of this, and then in the regions table we will put up we will click on region, and not the hierarchy part of the region, but the just general region field. And if you can see, we have a list of region here as well. After that, what we'll do is we will add a chart visual or a bar chart and a line chart visual to the canvas. And if you see here, there are lots of options for stacks bar chart and cluster bar chart, and there is some line and stack column chart as well as the line and stack clustered column chart. We will select line and stack column chart, and if you see, it adjusts the size and everything for that, for looking into the old formatting styles or sizing. But we need it to we need the bar chart to be covering up some major part of the page. So we will just adjust this size. We can have a different size, or we will adjust different size later on. But first what we'll do is we'll just bring in the data in that. So what we are analyzing is we are analyzing monthly sales over a period of time. So we will drag month field in the x-axis, and in the column y-axis from the sales table we will put up sales. So if you see, it is the bar graph is starting to take into shape. And then for the line chart, because it contains a line chart as well, we will add profit margin to the line chart. So if you see here, if we filter it with FY 2020, this is showing from July to May It should show June as well, but there is no sales occurring there. So it's just showing 11 months of data. We can put a visual or a label there without the data that without sales data in it, um, so that the chart displays the complete 11 months, or even with the ones which doesn't have any sales. What we can do is we can click on the month uh, in the x-axis, and then there is an option called show item with no data. When we click on this one, it will show June 2020 as well, without any sales or without any uh, data. Now what we'll do is we will add another chart. So make sure to deselect the chart. Otherwise, if you select any other visual, it will replace the chart visual. So if you see, I've clicked on table visual and here it has converted this to table visual. Let's undo this. We will click with anything outside the chart area. And then what we'll take is we'll use the stack column chart, and stack column chart we will place somewhere here. So now what we'll do is we will um, use x-axis for region, which is the country, the y-axis for sales, and the legend part we will add product category. So see, this is displaying sales by region, as well as the uh, category is giving the legends. If we remove legend, then it will just give total sales by country. But if we add another dimension to it, it is reflecting the sales and giving some breakup of the things. We will add another chart, which is the stacked bar chart, which is this one. So let's click on this one, and then we will place it here. Let's add product category to y-axis, and sales quantity of sales in x-axis. So this is giving product quantity by category, each category and number of quantity. We cannot see the exact uh, amount until we hover in front of the chart. So we can enable labels by going into the format visual tab, and then just click on data label. So it will show up the um, the data labels for the quantities. We can also enable data labels for other charts. Like for example, if you want to click on this one, it will show up the data labels for each individual chart. We can also show total labels as well. So this will show total sales. So yeah, that's it for the first page that we've created. It has covered a couple of filters. This major visual, that is sales profit by margin by month, sales by country and category, and the quantities by category as well. So this is first page that we have completed. So now what we'll do is now we'll create a page 2, and this is the second report page. We will click on the plus icon and then design the second page, and we will name this as profit. And then we will add a slicer. In that slicer, we will add region, and this region field has different things. And then if you see, there are individual regions, but what we want is we want to have an option. We can do a control click multiple selection, but in this scenario what we want is to have a select all option. So in order to do that, what we will do is we'll go to the settings and format visual, and then slicer settings, and in that selection group there are options like single select, multi select with control, and select all. We will enable this, and as soon as we'll enable, there is a select all option that comes through. Secondly, now we will add a matrix visual, and we will keep it as, we will do some resizing and do some stuff here. Now we want to measure order, sales, cost, profit margin. So we will first add date, and we will add this hierarchy, fiscal hierarchy here. And then from sales table, what we will do is first we will add orders, and this is from the count function, count folder. This is orders. Then we will add sales, cost, and then profit from the for profit measure, and profit margin. So we have this explicit filter or slicer here as well, but we can add another implicit filters in the filter pane. So what we can do is we can add a product category and drag it to filters on this page. So this means that, whenever we select a product category, it will, the all the fields will update accordingly in the matrix. So the difference is that, we can, if we have too much filters and too much slicers and or something like this that we need to do, one thing is that, we can put up explicit slicers, but if the report is more focus on graphs and charts and less filters on less focus on the filters, then what we can do is we can utilize this filter pane, because there are types of filters like filters on this particular visual, filter on this page, and filters on all pages. So these are the three types of explicit implicit filters that are there in the filter panes. Another difference is that um, uh, they can be a multiple filters applied on this page. So what we can do is we can just click on accessories, for example, and black. So this will filter everything for accessories. So this means that, we can have all the filters put up in the filter pane as well as, in the filter region. After designing this page, profit page, we will create another page, and in that page what we will do is we will um, uh, create some performances for individual people, and we will just add this new page and rename it to my performance. After that, what we will do is we will, the reason being I'm creating this my performance page is to ensure row level security in the future. We will discuss this in the future one. So since this is my performance, what we are doing is We are taking salesperson performance table and then dragging the salesperson name to the filter on this page filter. Okay, so what we'll do is we will select Michael Blith here, and now what we'll do is we will add a slicer with the air column. So it gives an option of the list. We will change this option from slicer setting to drop downs, and this, as you can see, it is giving the air as drop downs. We will select FY 2019 here from the air. Then we will add a multi-row card visual, and I will just resize this, and then we'll add the following fields in that. So we will take sales from the sales table, and then we will take targets, and in targets we will take the target measure and variance and various margins as well. So this is we will adjust it here somewhere, and we will resize this in a in a broader font and in a larger font. What we can do is we can just go to the format visual tab, go to the call out values, and give this size as 25, as well as we'll go to the general tab and go to the effect section and change the background to somewhere light gray here. Now we will add a what do you call it, clustered bar chart, and in that on the y-axis we will add month, and in the x-axis we will add sales here. So in this way it will give sales by month. What In order to measure it with the targets, we will add target metrics, or sorry, measure with the sales as well. So here what is done here is sales and target by month. What we will do now is we will just copy this visual and paste it, which means that we are duplicating this visual. So copy and paste. So this has created another visual with a similar visualization. Now what we will do now is we will change this type of visualization, and now we will select a clustered column chart, which is this one. So as soon as we select this one, it is giving the complete details of sales and target, but in a different dimensions. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video.